Right near the long lifeline.
Right there.
Or that may be part of my breakfast. I don't know. At any rate, we are having a wonderful time.
Really
I guess the question is, why are we here? We received a letter, the home show, and it was addressed to me, from Tammy Chamberlin, a resident here. She and her husband, Stephen, live here, and they are just the biggest boosters and the biggest fans of this town there are. And she wrote to us and said the town has had a couple of setbacks, and a couple of plants have closed, and they need kind of a boost to their morale. And I called her and said, well, gee, I couldn't come down because it's during the week, and for some reason I didn't throw the letter away. I left it on my desk, so every morning I'd come to work, and there was Tammy Chamberlin's letter looking at me, and it was looking at me.
Yeah.
So finally, a couple of weeks later, I took it upstairs, and you remember we sat and discussed it with everybody, and everybody thought it was a great idea just to come down here and do a payback to the people of Michigan, and especially Three Rivers, for being such great supporters of the home show.
Sure.
And what a gold mine we found.
I keep
Carol, you've
telling
got
you,
anyway, this is, I'm sorry, this is Tammy Chamberlin.
It's here. Hi, Tammy.
Made it possible for me to get back to my home state.
We're glad to have you here.
Does she have any idea what kind of ruckus she's caused?
Yeah. Dana was asking if you had any idea what kind of ruckus you caused.
I tell you, it's been something.
Well, everybody seems very thrilled about our coming down here, and the other thing is that you drive into this town and you would swear that even though almost, I guess, a quarter of the town was laid off in the plant closings and stuff, you would never know it. The town is absolutely spotless.
Oh, is it?
There's not a piece of paper anywhere, and I know they didn't do this just because the festival was going on.
No graffiti any place.
And all the homes are, even though they're wonderful Victorian homes, I guess the town was built when? In
1836, it was
1836.
established.
We have some very old, and you live in an
1845.
Her house was built in 1845, wow. But they take immaculate care of all of these houses.
It was just a joy to walk through and drive around in the town and everything, and to meet all the people, of course, and be in Michigan.
So everybody was surprised that we came down, huh?
Oh, we were, but we're very ecstatic to have you here.
All right, well, we are happy to be here, and we'll be talking more to Tammy, and we're going to show you a few of the things that the residents of Three Rivers have given us and discuss some of their crafts right after these messages. Summer in Three Rivers, Michigan, and it is indeed summer here. Carol and I, of course, are with Tammy Chamberlin, the young lady responsible for our being here in Three Rivers. I got to tell you something, Dana.
What?
Last night we went to a beer fest. But first we went to an ox roast.
What?
And I'm telling you, they got mosquitoes down here so big they have their own airport. Yo! And I don't know how they do it. Everybody runs around with shorts on.
Well, we're tough here.
Yeah.
I have to mention this before I miss it, and that is I know we're going to get to the parade later, there were 24 floats signed up to be in the parade until the word got around that Gary Collins was going to be here. They had over 70 in a matter of days.
That's great.
I know that the town has got some wonderful things to look forward to. There's an industrial park that's going to be going in, and even though a couple of plants have closed, there are one or two of them are retooling, and they're going to open in a couple of years. But every year, everybody's spirits get just right up overfilling, I guess, up to the brim with love and affection and sharing, and it all kind of comes together at the Water Festival. When did it start?
34 years ago. Yeah.
And it's to celebrate what? A harvest or celebrate summer?
Water.
Coming on,
The water, that's right.
Oh, gee. Oh.
It's called Three Rivers, Gary.
Here in Michigan.
We do.
It's not like California.
I'm sorry, what'd you say, Dana?
I said, well, it is called Three Rivers, you know.
I know. Don't rub it in.
We have three rivers that go through the town, the Portage, the Rocky, and the St. Joe.
Yeah.
So.
Must have been lovely when the Indians were here about 200 years ago. And then, of course, it's still lovely now. We did do a little profile of Three Rivers, Michigan. We took our cameras around. I think you'll enjoy it. Take a look. The junction of the Rocky, Portage, and St. Joseph Rivers is what gives this town its name and scenic beauty. But the people who live here give Three Rivers its real personality. These people have also experienced some hard times of late, like so many others across the country. The once bustling Main Street is a much quieter place now. Storefront signs that once tempted shoppers have been replaced by much more foreboding messages. Two of the biggest employers in the area, GTE and General Motors, have recently halted operations here. Even though the GM plant is scheduled to reopen, it will probably only employ about a third of the workers it once did, and the general situation is not expected to improve significantly in the near future.
I'm not sure when I'm going back to work, and they gave us a timetable, and according to that, it'll be about 2.5 years before I'm called back.
I've been laid off before, so I knew what to expect, but I was a little bit leery about taking it this time because I got a daughter going to college, and you know, it always helps having a weekly paycheck coming in.
All of a sudden, it's time for not only I to go to work, but go to work full-time, and it was devastating to our family.
The biggest impact that I have seen GM leave on our community is that from a teacher's perspective, watching children go through the stress of the family situation and watching children have to move out of school, or watching dad commute 90 miles a day, and then the children move later to Fort Wayne or wherever he may be transferred.
But while the people of Three Rivers may be down, they are definitely not out. They have a very valuable resource for hope and support. They have each other.
A lot of friends here that back us up and kind of help us through this. It's kind of a close community, I think. I've lived here all my life. Pretty well familiar with everything around here.
We're staying in Three Rivers. We've been called to several other locations for hydromatics, and we've said no, that we have faith in the community, and we would like to be able to stick it out in the community. So we're going to pray that everything with this GM plant sooner or later will pull together and support the community that it started.
Well, I don't know who did that tape, but there's a lot of happy people out here. I'll tell you one thing. Somebody said something the other day, said, it's a great town. You don't want to visit, you want to live there.
Here, yes.
Now, we've been getting all sorts of things. Last night at the parade, you got a bunch of these...
During the parade, actually, and these were hand-done and given to me as the boat went by Bill McCoy.
Okay,
and
good.
Here's we should look at our parade.
Yeah, and here's our parade. This is the Water Festival parade. Take a look.
Okay, here comes Billy now.
Okay.
This looks great, Gary, Carol.
Isn't that pretty? We had more people, and you remember I kidded you on the plane about if it's a water festival, are they going to throw stuff?
Yeah, throw water balloons.
Well, it turned out that we threw candy to the kids.
Oh, how
They give you a big bag of candy.
Oh, that's why so many were around your car.
That's right.
I bet.
And you saw there, they come in a lawnmower. Oh, there's GC and his...
Yeah.
And that's Tammy's daughter, Cassie, next to me.
Aw.
Now, actually...
I bet everybody in the whole
Mrs.
town
Duval.
was there.
Yeah, she didn't have to throw candy.
Gary, Carol?
Yes,
Was
yeah.
everybody from the town there?
I think so.
I think just about everybody from Three Rivers. It's a town of, what, 7,500 plus?
They had them from nearby towns, too. And incidentally, Saturday, there's another parade, only that's on the water. When the boats come down.
All the boats go on the rivers. All right, we mentioned some of the wonderful things that you've seen, and all through the show we're going to show you some of the crafts, as well as you're going to meet some of the people who have taken ideas to make a craft, and they've made a business out of it.
Terrific.
And also a Michigan State.
I complained about seeing nothing but University of Michigan T-shirts last night, so today somebody brought me this Michigan State one.
Okay. Here, we'll let everybody see it. There
That's
we go,
my
number
alma
one
mater.
Spartans. Okay.
My alma mater.
We'll be right back after these messages. This is terrific. Out in the sun in Three Rivers, Michigan. Back in Hollywood, movie mom Nora Fraser joins us now with a look at two of the most anticipated new movies of the summer season. Hi, Nora.
Thanks, Gary and Carol.
Hi, Gary and Carol and Dana and
everybody in Three Rivers and everybody across America. Okay, this is the big weekend.
This is the big day.
Hype, hype. Just like last year,
That's
Batman. Right. This year, it's Gremlins 2, and of course, Dick Tracy.
Well, let's give them a little credit. They didn't do the hype with the merchandising anyway.
No,
they didn't resist that.
Yeah.
But for that, they maybe deserve an
I don't know, Dick Tracy clothing. We had it on the show.
It's expensive and it's for older people. It's not lunch boxes.
Movie mom's opinion. All right, now we're going to see how you feel about the movies in a piece that you have done for us. But first, let's talk about the ratings of the movies. You don't agree with the rating of one of them, at least.
Right. Do I ever? No.
Yeah.
I really don't like the way Dick Tracy is rated, although I think the movie's fabulous. And, you know, a while back I had a really interesting conversation with Stephen Spielberg about this crazy, whacked-out rating system of ours.
I had been lobbying for a rating for many years in between, you know, PG and R. I've had to go to arbitration on several movies that didn't deserve R ratings, but also didn't deserve PG ratings. But I would rather have the PG than the R, because I felt that when I did go to arbitration with the MPAA to try to get a rating changed, it was because I really felt that the movie wasn't that scary. But the PG-13 does rescue a number of those films caught in the controversial, you know, gray area.
Batman was PG-13. What did you think about the violence level of that?
Well, it was comic violent. It was comic violent. You know, there's different kinds of violence. You know, the Indiana Jones films are very violent, but it's comic book violence.
But do you think it's worse for a child to look at violence as a form of entertainment and say, oh, that doesn't scare me, that's funny, or that he should maybe recoil from it and go, oh, that makes me uncomfortable, that's bad?
I think it's better. I do think it's okay. It's okay. It's better than street violence. It's better than gang violence.
But what you get in Dick Tracy is more like mob violence. Although the movie received only a PG rating, probably for the lack of blood and gore, it rates high in number of violent deaths and the gusto with which they are performed.
I want Dick Tracy dead!
While it's a beautiful film to look at, with good performances by Al Pacino and Madonna.
You know, it's legal for me to take you down to the station and sweat it out of you under the lights.
I sweat a lot better in the dark.
Isn't this just too much for kids?
Tracy, watch out!
Was Gremlins a good family film?
Yeah, for the Addams Family. Sure.
Okay, now, was Gremlins instrumental in starting that PG-13 rating?
I think Gremlins, two of my movies were. I think we had, you know, Paramount and Warner spent millions of dollars just to make two films to get the ratings changed. We got a PG-13, but it cost about $47 million to get the PG-13 rating in there, which is what both films cost combined. And yeah, both films created a real flap about what is viewable by families and what is not.
Spielberg himself seems to have changed his mind about what is viewable by families in his considerably toned-down Gremlins 2, a much softer version than the original.
Well, it's rather brutal here. We're advising our clients to put everything they've got into canned food and shotguns.
This film relies more heavily on humor, and no people get killed or even maimed. However, the Gremlins are still the Gremlins.
Creature, what is it that you want?
Fred, what we want is, I think, what everyone wants, and what you and your viewers have. Civilization. Everything your society has worked so hard to accomplish over the centuries, that's what we aspire to. We want to be civilized. I mean, you take a look at this fellow here. Now, was that civilized? No, clearly not. Fun, but in no sense civilized.
Now, Nora, was that civilized? No, I had to. Why don't you agree with the rating on it?
Well, now, with Gremlins, I agree. It's PG-13, and you probably want to know why it's PG-13, which I don't know, but I could guess. First, that was pretty cold-blooded with that Gremlin shooting that little thing like that. Also, one of the Gremlins goes through a paper shredder. That's gross.
Oh,
that
last
really
time,
gross.
Gremlins 1, it was a blender, and this one's a shredder.
Oh, can I tell you, I hated Gremlins 1. I hated Gremlins 1. It was horrible. They took Christmas and the home and all these places where children are supposed to feel safe, and they just horrified kids. And this is not the same movie. This is a totally different movie. Like we said, people don't really get harmed, but there is gross stuff, and the ending is really tasteless and unnecessary. But it's a fun movie, and I say take older kids. It's fun for older people, please do not take your small children to this movie.
Okay, Dick Tracy, though. It's only PG, and I mean, they're shooting everywhere, and every advertisement I see has Madonna with everything hanging out.
Okay, all right. Okay, Dick Tracy, all right. The sexuality doesn't bother me because it's used to make a point, and the point is that Dick Tracy is very loyal to his girlfriend in spite of all this kind of temptation. And so it's used, all right, that doesn't bother me. It's the preponderance of the machine gun play. You don't see blood and gore, but there are some people who believe that it's worse if you don't see blood and gore, that there are no consequences to this violence. And the movie is a beautiful movie. It's a terrific movie. The performances are lovely. Why do we need all of this machine gun play? I even went to sleep the night after the movie, and I dreamed about a lot of machine guns. And it's just because there's too much.
So
it's just excessive, that's all. I mean, it's not that you shouldn't have a movie with machine guns in it with kids. It's just that why is there so much? That's
and
all.
if you had nightmares, imagine what kids would have, you know.
Well, they weren't really nightmares, but there was a lot of... So they got killed, just like in Dick Tracy. I mean, they got
Nora,
killed.
Dana?
Yes, Gary.
I do have a question. I mean, do you really sweat better in the dark?
I didn't say that.
What did that mean?
Said that, Gary.
I know Madonna said it.
All right, Nora's going to sum up in a final summary, Nora. Let's start with Dick Tracy.
Dick Tracy is a very well done movie. I think it's good for older children, but just way too much gunplay. And there we have it. All right, too much.
And what about Gremlins?
The Gremlins is an entertaining movie and much better than the first. But for little kids, it's a little gory.
Did you guys see that?
Yes, we did.
Okay. Thanks, Nora. Thank you very much. That's great.
Thanks very much. Thanks, Nora. Next, this week's grand prize winner in our how-to video contest, and Howie Stevens is somewhere in the good old US of A. This little canoe. Give me a little canoe for the rivers and everything. Carol and I are in Three Rivers, Michigan, and it's time now to announce our weekly $1,000 winner in our home show how-to video contest. Of course, it's always a tough decision, but before we announce the winner, let's take a look at our nominees for this week.
On Monday, Ann Nolenberg of Park City, Illinois showed us how to turn everyday kitchen items into the ultimate bridal shower gift.
As you can see, I attached the head to the top of the ironing board that we made earlier. Next, I put a napkin across the top here for her kerchief. Then I rolled up the dish towels and attached those for her arms. The oven mitts are hands.
Ann's creation was the hit of her sister-in-law's shower. On Tuesday, Diane Shores and the girls taught us how to recycle plastic soda pop rings into friendship flowers.
You can put them in a flower bed and plant it.
Now what I'm going to show you how to do today is make a padded headboard like this for under $30.
On Wednesday, Christine Costa of Scotts Valley, California used only a piece of plywood, some fabric batting, and a sheet to create the headboard for her son's future bed.
Voila! There's the completed headboard.
Yesterday's winner, Barbie Hartsfield of Tallahassee, Florida, used clever video and audio techniques in making her family's favorite recipe, pizza witches.
All right, Howard, where are you? Howard Stevens. Holy smokes, he's here! In Three Rivers. Hey, what a surprise! Hi, Ann Nolenberg. How are you? Congratulations. I'm terrific. We loved your bridal shower gift. And I think we did. How did we do when we made ours? Did it look like yours?
It looked pretty good.
Well,
yeah.
good. Okay.
In fact, Gary was so surprised. He was so excited about your June bride that we couldn't just come out here, just the two of us. So, Gary, we have a surprise for you because it's lonely on the road.
You have one. Okay. All right, Howard. Better give her $1,000 because we're going to the hard break. And
well,
Nolan,
life isn't too hard with 1,000.
And congratulations.
We'll be back with more of Gary and Carol from Three Rivers. Thanks for joining us this Friday. Gary Collins is in Three Rivers, Michigan for their water festival, and we'll talk to him in a moment. But coming up, acclaimed actress Lee Remick talks about surviving cancer and overcoming the stigma attached to all cancer patients. And Diane Thomas has an easy lesson in making vases out of linen. Look at this. And Leon Kaplan will show us a safety test for automatic garage openers. But right now, let's check in with Gary in Three Rivers, Michigan. Gary.
Hey, hi, Dana.
Hi.
Howard Stevens is with me because before we went to the half-hour break, Howard announced the winner of our $1,000 weekly winner, and it's Ann Nolenberg. This is her husband, Tom, who did the video. And I guess they've got other surprises in store as well.
Yes, what we're going to do with the $1,000, Ann?
Well, my mother's listening in Nashville, and she doesn't know this yet, but Andrew's going to get another baby brother or sister pretty time soon in March.
Isn't that great?
Oh, that's so neat. You just
announced
it.
That is fabulous. Well, congratulations on being our $1,000 winner.
Thank you.
And you did a good job with that video, Tom. Now, we're here in Three Rivers this Friday because of an invitation we received to be a part of their water festival parade. And we got so excited about it, we decided to do half the show here. It's a wonderful community in southwest Michigan. They've had a couple of plant closures. Everybody expected hard times, but it hasn't worked out that way. The town is bouncing back. And one of the things that Carol and I have noticed, everybody has a craft. And not only that, but they're in business with them, too, as Carol will demonstrate right now.
Well, number one is Sue Trump. And Sue, this is brand new entrepreneur.
That's right.
As of yesterday, she's officially in business.
That's it. Kicked it off with a home show.
Now, Sue decorates T-shirts and sweatshirts. Now, we know that this is not new. But I think that the way Sue does it, and with such simplicity, show us.
I'm not a sewer, so I use the iron-on interfacing. I take bandanas, they're pre-hemmed. Line them up, iron them on, and just zigzag around the edge.
Like the Stitch Witchery or whatever.
It's called Wonder Under, and that way you can place it just where you want. Iron it on, it stays. These are all pre-washed, and then I also put a little embellishment on them.
Now, how do you cut this out? I mean, what kind of a part of it is it?
This is the other half.
Oh, it's the whole half of it.
And then with this half, I either do a child's version, or I cut it the diagonal, roll it up, put a bead on it, and have a bracelet.
Isn't that great?
Hey, darling.
I'm telling you.
I don't know if you heard me say, today's her first official day in business.
I know she's in business.
And you can find fun ones, too, like raisins and all kinds of things.
Now, these decorated T-shirts, and we've certainly seen decorated T-shirts, but this design is wonderful.
Now, how do you get the design?
Oh, it's a spray.
Oh.
Now, you just take men's T-shirts, white, V-neck, crew neck, or decorated ones, and you just take the spray. Find a ventilated area, spray it all.
Fabulous.
And you've got a nice outfit.
Okay,
Gary,
thank you.
I'll take them back to the shop and sell.
Carol,
Right.
Yes.
how much does she sell those for?
The T-shirt and sock sets are $20, and sweatshirts are $25.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. This is Judy. And Judy, you do butterflies. You simply open your magazine, and whatever strikes your fancy, you cut a page out, and as you can see, a beautiful butterfly.
Right. All kinds of pretty pictures, especially pictures of food.
They make the best ones.
This start with a square and something that looks like lips, right?
Right. The square is the top half of the butterfly, and it's folded in half diagonally.
This is just the old accordion pleat fold.
Right, and then you just fold back and forth from the center of each one. The same is done with the pair of lips. It's folded in half through the center, and then the folds are made
all right,
from
so this
there.
is the bottom part of the butterfly, and that's the top part.
And you get them all together, and they look like that. They are
Yes.
absolutely gorgeous.
Now, she also had a great tip for skinning a chicken. I know we're going from the sublime to the you-know-what, but anyway, she buys a pair of simple garden gloves, $1.50, $1.25, and she'll take a chicken, and what this does, it gives you a little grip.
Little grip,
Yeah.
right.
Watch this.
Then you just take a hold of the skin of the chicken and you
And
pull.
zip.
That's great. That's what we can all use.
Well, all you do is stick these gloves in the washing machine.
All the way off.
I love that one.
You better put that guy back in the freezer. Okay. This is Julie Olin.
And Julie's little guys who are gifts and hold gifts. And look at the way she's done a real home show play out here. You want to show us how you get this cute little guy, Julie?
This is a real fun way to wrap the gifts. I start simply with a rectangle for the body, some real simple patterns for the arms, head, and the hat. I go through and I take an indelible marker to mark on the face, color the cheeks in with just a red crayon, and then I stuff and gather the top of the face. Take the hat, stitch it, turn it right side out. Do the same with the arms and legs. Stuff them with a cotton ball size piece of stuffing and tie the ends. Then I come over to the body, the main body, and I put the arms and the legs on in the way I've got them positioned here with the ribbon to tie it just a little bit above the arm. Then I take your second body piece, place it over here, stitch around the three sides, take the top and turn that under and stitch it, and diagonally stitch the corner, turn it right side out, attach the head, and you're done. You've got a gift bag.
And we decided that after the gift comes out, you could put popcorn inside and make a bean bag.
Yeah, just put a bag in there.
Cute little thing to sit on the shelf.
That's wonderful,
so
Julie.
cute.
Thank you very much. Now, you know how expensive dollhouses are and how difficult it is to find one you really like? Joanne has the greatest idea.
This dollhouse was designed specially for the home show. This is a 4x8 sheet of insulation, paper bags, wallpaper paper, mix it up. You got your whole sheet. It's not cut out yet. Take your paper bag, dip it into your wallpaper paste, and cover the whole sheet. Then it's cut out.
And turn around. And it's so lightweight. It's wonderful.
But look, it's light as a feather.
We have it weighted down
And
with
it's
some
sturdy.
books.
And it's wallpapered on the walls.
What do you reckon this costs, Joanne?
Just under $10.
Under $10 for a dollhouse.
And the shingles on the roof are just torn pieces of construction paper.
That is fabulous.
And Joanne came
Johnson.
complete with instructions for the newsletter. So
Thank you, Joanne. Now, I want you to take a look at these. What do they look like to you?
Who is
Well,
that?
everybody in Southwest Michigan knows they're rumps by Reb.
Right, and they're for the outside of our home.
This is Reb Hambrick.
Hi.
And where did this start?
Well, they're just different sizes of fannies for outside around your landscaping.
Everybody needs
and
one
the garden.
outside.
They're
We call that
waterproof.
mooning where I come
Right,
from.
right. Well, we've got one, but they're waterproof.
We've seen them painted on before, but
What do you do
obviously
with
these
them?
are real.
Put them out. Put them in your garden. Some people
Gary,
use them
get
as
your hand off
security.
there.
They keep moving them around. You know, you don't have a man around, make one.
Oh, now wait a minute. Now let me get this straight. Dana, are you into this?
Yeah, I saw your
Okay.
hand on there. You get your
I
hand
know,
over
well.
there.
Anyway, the point is, you correct me if I'm wrong. You put them in the garden or put them around the house, and you move them frequently. So
Yes.
if somebody's driving down the street, they
Sure.
simply think there's somebody in the garden and they're bending over. Okay.
Or if you don't have a man or a woman,
Yes.
that's a good way to get one.
Okay. Thank
we
you,
have
Reb.
a copyright on it.
Thank you, Reb. I think we saw all of them, Carol. Reb, thank you so much. Again, terrific talents and terrific crafts. We'll be back with Lee Remick. A wonderful conversation.
Thank you.
Lee Remick is one of our most acclaimed actresses, and I don't think you were there, Carol, but before we left for Three Rivers, Dana and I had a chance to chat with her. Her whole life changed in April of 1989 when she was diagnosed with kidney and lung cancer. And she came to our studios and she talked about her recovery and about a new support group that really helps the survivors of cancer. Let's meet Lee. Hi, how are you?
Fine, thank you. How are you?
Just terrific.
Good.
Have you met before?
No, I haven't.
yeah.
I mean,
No,
I've
always,
pleasure.
really, this is a treat for me because
Thank
I
you.
have always admired your work.
Thank you so much.
I had the biggest crush on her. Well, I still do, for that matter.
Watch out, Marianne might be watching.
Oh, well, Marianne knows about it. As a matter of fact, we were neighbors at one time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yes, yeah, we're still there.
Yeah.
And happily, you are still here.
Yes.
Can we go back to April of 1989? What was going on in your life at the time?
I was making a movie, which during which time, all 6 weeks of it, I was I had had a cold, and I got a fever which wouldn't go away, and I just thought it was the remnants of the cold. So I went through the making of this movie called Dark Holiday, which was a rather gruesome subject about a woman in a Turkish prison. So it was okay that I didn't look my best, but it was okay for the movie. It wasn't so good for me. And anyway, when the movie was all over, I went to the doctor and I said, what is this? I mean, I can't get rid of it. Even now that I've stopped working, it won't go away. So long and the short of it is they took pictures and they found bad stuff. And I was back east at the time, having finished the movie in France and flown to my house on the Cape to get my daughter's wedding ready. And then they said, there's all this stuff on your lungs and all this very large tumor on your kidney, so it's got to go. So I came back here to be treated by an oncologist who put me right on the plane to go back to Bethesda, to the National Institutes of Health, where I was taken care of. I was treated with this marvelous treatment and sent home, and then went back in and had the kidney out, and I'm fine.
Well, tell us a little bit about the treatment. You said this marvelous treatment. It was not chemotherapy.
No, it wasn't. It was
a kind of an experimental treatment, isn't it?
Well, it's been used about 500 or 600 times in that with that doctor in that hospital, so I didn't consider myself a guinea pig in any way whatsoever.
Right.
But it's a treatment involving interleukin-2 and alpha interferon, both of which are dripped into your arms at various times in the course of 5 or 6 days, whatever you can take. And it's not pleasant. There's nothing to be said for it in that regard, but it does work, and or it did for me, and thank God.
A lot of studies are being done with this positive thinking.
Oh, yes.
You know, in the most terminal cases of cancer, even, they're still trying it. And didn't you use a lot of that?
I was advised to use it, not only by my doctor out here who said, go ahead, you know, it can't hurt, it has no ill side effects, and it might help. And so, and a lot of friends gave me books and tapes, and they did help. I know they helped. Yeah. Whether or not in the actual curing of the problem, I mean, I'm not equipped to say, but it certainly helped me get through it.
Yeah.
Which is half the battle.
What were you told as far as the probability or your chances for success?
I wasn't.
After the initial diagnosis? You weren't?
No, I didn't ask. The assumption was, on their part and on mine, that it was going to be taken care of. Yeah. And, I mean, I could have died from the treatment, I suppose. It's possible, but I was determined that I was just going to get over it.
And trying to get your daughter married, helping with that, and all the other things that you have going on in your life.
It was a busy summer.
Requires a tremendous amount of strength, stamina, and this is a very traumatic
It is. It's very scary.
Where do you draw from? What do you look to for strength?
I guess, I suppose my background and my family. And just my determination not to give in to this thing. And I was blessed by being visited with the kind of cancer that can be cured. And there are many, you know, you don't hear about the success stories.
Yeah.
You hear about so-and-so died, so-and-so died.
We hear about Jill Bronson, for example, Jill Ireland Bronson, who everybody thought was out of the woods.
Yes, I know. It's terrible.
And it was so positive on her
So sad, I know. She was so strong and so brave. And
what about you? Is there a prognosis? Is there a period of time that you've got to wait, or are you...
You go through testing every 3 or 4 months, and I guess the general thing is that if you get through 5 years, supposedly that's a kind of benchmark. But basically what you have to concentrate on is getting through every day well and happily. That's the key, I think. If, as one is inclined to do, you're in a state of panic all the time, and it's easy to be. It's very frightening, of course. That's counterproductive. It doesn't help you. And so that's my only real advice to anybody, is get the best doctors, do it right away. Don't wait a day longer than you have to get treatment.
and work on that premise that each day is precious.
One of the happy events in her life. I'm sorry, you go ahead.
Well, I was just I think June 24th you're going to receive, as well you should, an award called the Victory Award.
Yes, there's an organization called Can Survive, which is dedicated to helping people who have recovered from cancer, because there's a lot of work done and a lot of money raised and a lot of experimenting done on people who are sick. But people who've been through it and come out the other side for 10 or 15 years, and I didn't know about this until recently, have trouble getting jobs because there's a sort of stigma against having had cancer.
Oh, yeah, still there.
And, they can't get insurance, and sometimes relationships break up, you know, because the family of your intended is scared that you're going to end up a widow or whatever. So this group is dedicated to putting that situation to rights, and it's difficult because people are more worried about the sick than they are the well. But if you have no life after being sick, it's, you know, it's terrible, really terrible. So yes, they're giving me an award for having survived it.
well, they should. And I think one of the points here is that you need more spokespersons out there to talk about cancer, to sort of demyth it, debunk all the myths that we've developed over the years.
That's right.
And
That's right,
we won't face some of the problems
more
that you just talked
recoveries.
about.
Yeah.
Our guest, Lee Remick, and congratulations on the Victory Award.
Thank you.
Good luck with love letters.
Thank you very much.
Now, if you're one of the 6 million cancer survivors in this country and would like to get in touch with the group Can Survive, you can write to Can Survive, 6500 Wilshire Boulevard, Suite 500, Los Angeles, California, 90048.
Our best to Lee Remick. You know, Gary mentioned Love Letters, and that's the play that Lee will be starring in with Tom Skerritt starting June 19th at the Cannon Theater here in Los Angeles. And coming up next, Leon will show you how to test your automatic garage door for safety. Leon Kaplan is going to show us how to give our garage doors a safety test. Hi, Leon.
How are you, Dana?
How are you?
Nice to see you. You do a good job and look lovely as ever.
Oh, thank you. He says that every time. I don't know why. But anyway, you have some really important information here.
Well, you know,
garage doors, automatic ones, can be dangerous.
Absolutely. An automatic garage door can come down, and what happens when it comes down, if a child is in its way and is not paying attention, it can cause severe damage. And what happened, a garage door weighs about 300 to 600 pounds, and so it can create a lot of damage. Let's look at the tape here. For instance, how this garage door is coming down, it's going to hit this papaya. If this was a child, a garage door just keeps going down. Same thing with a bike. Look at that. And then it pins the child underneath the door, and there's no way that can come back up until someone releases it and can cause severe damage to your car.
That is just very tragic. And I mean, even pets, too. I mean, just taking it a step down a little bit.
Absolutely.
But there are some new, safer garage doors out?
Yeah, there are some new, safer garage doors. Well, let's take a look at this tape that I'm showing. There's new garage doors that could come down as well, like this one, and hit your child, such as we're looking at this papaya. But see what happens? It has an auto reverse mode that takes the garage door and sends it back up so the child is not trapped underneath the door. Yeah. The same thing happens with the bike. Now, the child could possibly get injured, but he's not going to be trapped there, and it won't cause so much damage to your car as well.
Okay, now is there a test that we can use to see if our garage doors have this auto reverse
Oh, absolutely. There's a test. In fact, I took another picture here. Take a look at this. You know, you can get a wooden block about 2 to 5 feet in diameter, anything actually to stop the door. Yeah. And as the garage door is coming down and it hits it, see what happens? It springs back up. It's an auto-reversible mode, which will keep anybody from getting damaged.
Now, if you're testing your garage, though, if it does not come back up, remember to push the button and bring it back up.
Push the button and stop the door. It's a good point.
Couldn't you burn out your motor?
Oh, you can burn out your motor and create a lot of problems with it. So check those garage doors.
Okay, now you tell me this is something even better.
Oh, this is better. This is this is an infrared device that will not make the garage door come back up, but anytime it picks up any object in between, it stops the door immediately, so that it will not come down and create any damage to either objects or people.
Okay. Now, what can we do if we don't have, obviously, how much is this, first of all?
Well, this runs $99, and you can buy these. In fact, if you don't have these safety devices on your garage door. I highly recommend it. Like I said earlier, it can cause severe damage. And you can, if you can't get these devices, you can have the automatic portion disconnected, and then you can use the garage door manually.
But you know, $99, I think it's money well spent.
Oh, absolutely.
You know? All right.
A lot of children have been injured with this.
Yeah. Thank you, Leon.
My
Thank
pleasure.
you very much.
Thank
We'll
you.
see you soon.
Okay.
And we'll be right back with more with Gary and Carol in Three Rivers, Michigan. Don't go away.
The home car segment is brought to you by Hyundai. Cars that make sense.
Oh, because of the remote with Three Rivers, we didn't have time for Diane Thomas's tips with the linen vases, but we will be doing that. We'll bring that to you a little bit later on. Coming up next week, celebrity grilling tips from their backyards. We'll have Richard Simmons and Charo and all sorts of people, plus Julia Child will be here telling us how to choose the right wines. But right now, let's go back to Gary. Gary Carroll.
Thank you,
Back
Dana.
to you.
Of course, we're wrapping it up here in Three Rivers, Michigan. And I tell you, if you happen to be going down Highway 131, do stop here. It's a wonderful place to visit, and you might want to stay. And, of course, everybody, our cast of characters join us. Howie, our $1,000 winners, the Nolenbergs, Carol Duvall, Stephen, and, of course, Tammy Chamberlin, and their son Jonathan and Cassie. And we've had a great time, and I'll tell you, I'm sure glad we did it, Tammy. And our thanks and our appreciation for everybody here in Three Rivers who made our visit so pleasant and so wonderful. And we'll be back again. See ya.
Tomorrow afternoon, ABC brings you the Say No to Drugs Parade. Join hosts Kelly Martin of Life Goes On, Jaleel White of Family Matters, and many more as they help kids from all across the country say no to drugs and yes to life. Tomorrow night, the stakes are stupendous with big bucks for the greatest contest in the Super Bowl of game shows, Super Jeopardy! Then America's favorite board game becomes a game show, Monopoly. And now, stay tuned for Perfect Strangers.